A bloody man stared at the pool. Suddenly, a giant fish monster broke out. Terrified survivors frantically sprinted down the stairs. The massive beast slithered right behind them. Panic erupted as the group ran wildly. They desperately pulled each other to safety. The creature lunged through the outdoor corridor. It crashed down, blocking their escape path. They scrambled to find another clear stairwell, but the monster was already crawling down. A woman desperately yanked on locked doors. The wounded man frantically called his friend. They finally managed to hide inside a room. Outside, the monster prowled the quiet hallway. It slithered past, sniffing for their scent. Inside, a woman covered her mouth in fear. The survivors huddled closely, gripping cold hands. They frantically discussed how to get out. The beast's shadow loomed just outside them. One woman proposed a risky escape plan. The others listened in absolute stunned horror. The injured man bravely volunteered to go. He grabbed his friend to help him. They carefully peeked out the room's door. Seeing the empty hall, they sneaked out. They sprinted toward a fire extinguisher cabinet. They desperately ripped the heavy hose out. The remaining group waited anxiously behind them. The two men hurried with the lifeline. They dragged the heavy hose right back. Suddenly, a brave woman ran out shouting. She successfully lured the monster away from them. Another survivor hid silently in absolute terror. The men used the distraction to retreat. One man struggled with a tangled hose. The deadly beast appeared right behind him. The injured man ran for his life. He burst into the safe room exhausted. They quickly pushed a bed to barricade. They started escaping out the open window. Using the hose, they rappelled down safely. The monster violently smashed through their door. A ruthless gang boss inspected her prisoners. She demanded to see the captured creature. Her men showed the high-voltage stun gear. They presented a baby version of the monster. The men nervously warned her of the danger. She ignored them, approaching the restrained beast. The captive monster glared at her intensely. She arrogantly grabbed the heavy electric pole. She sneered at the terrified, tied beast. Without hesitation, she shoved the weapon forward. The massive creature thrust in extreme agony. It snapped its restraints and lunged viciously. The boss smoothly backed away from danger. She calmly walked down a flooded corridor. She proudly taunted the raging beast to follow. Gripping her weapon, she prepared to strike. Suddenly, she looked up in pure shock. The monster dropped down right onto her. She desperately thrust the stun pole upwards. Meanwhile, the hotel group jumped to safety. They snuck carefully through the resort gardens. The vast courtyard offered no clear exit. The beast had slithered outside to hunt. The group realized they couldn't just run. They examined the large, empty swimming pool. They devised a plan to electrocute it. A woman bravely volunteered to set the trap. They sprinted toward an old utility building. They entered the dark, abandoned control room. It was filled with old electrical equipment. The eerie silence put everyone on edge. They began looking for usable high-voltage lines. Someone found a massive power breaker box. They studied the facility's faded electrical map. The group immediately split up to connect cables. A man dragged heavy wires through hallways. A woman navigated a pitch-black flooded corridor. She walked cautiously, holding her makeshift spear. She pointed the electric weapon forward bravely. Her face suddenly paled in utter terror. She stood at the pool's edge, waiting. She looked back, hoping the power worked. The monster slithered into the pool area. She stumbled backward, terrified of its size. Another woman walked down a blue-lit hall. She gripped her heavy stun spear tightly. She stood near a dangerous electrical box. The men desperately checked the main breakers. She flipped the switch, praying for power. The huge beast roared in her face. She thrust the electric spear at it. The injured man rushed outside to help. He carried another makeshift electric pitchfork spear. They exchanged a tense, desperate final look. He jammed the power plug into place, but the breakers remained completely, silently dead. He realized the deadly trap had failed. He screamed for her to run back. She stood alone holding a makeshift spear. The beast had violently electrocuted her friend. Her brother screamed in absolute furious anger. She desperately begged him not to attack. She grabbed the fallen weapon for revenge. The monstrous fish lunged from the shadows. Together they bravely faced the terrifying creature, shocking the giant beast with high voltage, leaving the hotel pool completely destroyed. Her injured friend lay bleeding on the ground. The massive creature finally collapsed in defeat. But before this nightmare even began, they were just enjoying a summer vacation, exploring the beautiful, vibrant coral reefs. She relaxed happily on their private boat. The whole group walked down the pier. The young couple shared a romantic embrace. He promised her an unforgettable surprise trip. Everyone had a blast at the pool party, getting ready to cut a delicious cake. But the angry manager suddenly interrupted them. Their cheap holiday package had just expired. They furiously argued against the sudden charges, refusing to pay such an outrageous scam. The couple sat depressed near the beach. Finding another cheap hotel was absolutely impossible. The peak tourist season ruined their plans. Tensions quickly boiled over among the friends. They argued over who should pay now. She stubbornly refused his financial help. They tried to cool off and relax, buying some fresh coconuts from a stand. He noticed a recruitment flyer nearby. The fantastic island hotel was hiring staff, offering free meals and nice employee benefits. It sounded better than a ruined vacation. They happily agreed to take the jobs, piling into a rented red truck together, leaving the sunny beach far behind. Arriving at the secluded resort that night, entering the grand hotel lobby for interviews, the strange manager ate noodles suspiciously, complaining about being desperately short on workers. He assigned them immediately to staff quarters, warning them never to wander around outside. The couple felt very unsettled by him. Someone suddenly whispered to the shady manager, leaving the new staff completely unsupervised. The workers seemed incredibly nervous tonight. A dark delivery truck arrived outside. A mysterious group awaited the special cargo. Mr. Niu admired the terrifying trapped creature. The next day, they started their jobs, greeting guests in the busy main lobby. Hammer struggled as a simple bellboy, finding his heavy tasks absolutely exhausting. He pointed his co-worker down the hall, left completely alone to finish the deliveries. He sneakily took a quick break outside, stealing a sip from a guest's coconut. He nervously grabbed his load and ran, sprinting through the sudden heavy rainstorm, slipping violently in a massive muddy puddle. His sister searched the halls for him, only finding his muddy, discarded orange hat. She realized he had mysteriously vanished. They ran frantically through the pouring storm, searching the dark, terrifying hotel grounds, sprinting down completely empty, silent corridors, stumbling upon a ruined, abandoned hotel wing, pushing carefully through dusty plastic curtains, hearing someone whimpering in the shadows. They found Hammer hiding and completely terrified. He warned them about a terrible secret. She peered quietly down the dark stairwell, spotting the weird manager doing something shady. They quickly apologized for interrupting the meeting, narrowly escaping the dangerous, suspicious men. Meanwhile, VIP guests were guided inside, walking down the creepy plastic-covered hall, unaware of the monstrous secrets hidden nearby. Mr. Niu proudly welcomed his wealthy investors, pitching his exclusive, terrifying underwater farm. Stirring a bucket of strange, bloody bait, he confidently showed off his metal arm, asking if anyone wanted to invest today. One greedy investor eagerly wanted a share. Ignoring the obvious danger of this place, the mysterious wild creature became incredibly restless, dragging an investor violently into the water. The water instantly turned a horrifying red. They had just been enjoying a swim, completely unaware of the lurking deadly threat. The staff hastily cleaned up a tentacle. Panic quickly spread among the terrified guests. Something sinister definitely lurked beneath the surface. The secret underground farm was fully operational, breeding terrifying monsters for massive profit. The manager watched the cruel process unfold. The bizarre mutated creatures were harvested daily. The wealthy woman revels in her wicked games. She casually flirts with the injured hotel staff. Suddenly, a strange mutated eel appears on the table. Zigging suffers a severe bite from the vicious creature. The frightened group decides to investigate this dangerous animal. They urgently need to confront the hotel management. Meanwhile, the head chef prepares a new exotic dish. He completely underestimates the mutated animal's terrifying strength. The vicious predator quickly turns the tables around. Chuang's group recalls a strange accident near the pool. The hidden evidence points directly to the hotel kitchen. They realize the staff are hiding a dark secret. Chuangzi carefully pieces the disturbing clues all together. The kitchen staff panic over their dead colleague. Hammer aggressively orders everyone to hide the bloody mess. He violently vows to punish anyone making mistakes. Chuangzi secretly infiltrates the restricted kitchen area soon. They discover a massive electrified tank hidden inside. They realize a dead body was secretly carried away. The group urgently wants to expose this horrifying truth. They gather photographic evidence before fleeing the dark room. Hammer approaches a wealthy female guest outside now. She arrogantly dismisses his creepy and weird warnings. He glares at her with a sinister smirk. Health inspectors suddenly arrive at the Grand Hotel. The panicked staff quickly alert Hammer about them. These unexpected inspectors demand to see the kitchen. Hammer smoothly tries to stall the investigation process. They received an anonymous report about illegal breeding. The workers hastily hide all the mutant creatures. They desperately move the electrified cages away quickly. Hammer lies easily about a locked storage room. The suspicious inspector insists on checking inside anyway. They find absolutely nothing unusual hidden in there. The illegal tanks are cleverly hidden on the roof. The exhausted staff finally clean up the remaining mess. The group realizes the official inspection completely failed. The oblivious tourists continue dining in the hall. The brave group decides to warn everyone themselves. They loudly warn everyone about the mutated fish. They desperately urge the tourists to evacuate immediately. They present terrifying monster photos as undeniable proof. The ruthless hotel boss finally arrives to intervene. The brave group continues pleading with the confused crowd. The guests remain skeptical of their wild claims. Mr. New publicly accuses them of spreading lies. He claims the disturbing photos are completely fake. A victim angrily tries to show his bite mark. Hammer violently forces the poor man to stop. New calls them disgruntled former hotel interns instead. The furious group screams that he is lying. This manipulative boss threatens them with police action. He cleverly offers everyone a free buffet meal. The defeated group realizes nobody believes their warnings. One of them chases a suspicious figure outside. He carefully searches through the dense tropical garden. Meanwhile, Zhuangzi waits anxiously inside his hotel room. The wicked Mr. Niu enters a luxurious suite. His wealthy lover relaxes in her private bathtub. She sharply questions his handling of the situation. She seductively praises his immense power and control. He confidently approaches the large foam-filled bathtub now. They arrogantly celebrate their successful deception with champagne. She continues to flirt with the dangerous boss. Suddenly, she feels something moving beneath the bubbles. A deadly mutant eel navigates the hotel pipes. The creature travels freely through the plumbing system. Another guest is completely unaware of the danger. A massive monster violently attacks the wealthy woman. The terrifying beast slithers across the bloody floor. Mr. Niu watches his lover die in horror. He quickly orders his men to block signals. The entire hotel is now completely cut off. Hammer enters the room to assess the chaos. He calmly states the hotel is completely compromised. A dark ambition suddenly awakens inside Hammer's eyes. Hammer declares he will take the profitable beasts. The terrified tourists run frantically for their lives. Hammer brutally attacks his former boss without hesitation. He smiles maniacally at his newfound absolute power. The captured girls are tied up and interrogated. Hammer paces around the prisoners like a predator. The exhausted captives refuse to reveal their secrets. The thug aggressively suggests using physical force now. He confidently announces that Mr. Niu is gone. Meanwhile, Zhuangzi searches the grounds for his friends. Hammer equips a menacing metal glove for torture. He plunges the metal glove into the water. The terrified girls scream at the horrifying sight. He cruelly threatens them with the vicious creature. The madman boasts that nobody can possibly escape. One of the captives screams in helpless rage. The angry prisoners struggle vainly against their captors. They are brutally beaten down by the henchmen. Zhuangzi finally locates their hidden underground torture chamber. Hammer continues his ruthless interrogation without any mercy. He suddenly realizes that someone else is approaching. The wicked betrayer readies his weapon for battle. A swinging lamp illuminates the impending violent confrontation. The ultimate deadly game of survival begins now. But Zhuangzi instantly launches a desperate surprise attack. They fiercely wrestle on the ground for dominance. Yet the brutal killer slowly overpowers his victim. His deranged eyes gleam with sadistic, violent intent. A sudden frantic struggle breaks out once more. Fortunately, a brave ally joins this bloody brawl. The chaotic chase spills into an abandoned hallway, leaving one wounded survivor collapsed on the floor. Zhuangzi desperately blocked a lethal thrust aimed downwards. The grueling hand-to-hand combat exhausts both desperate men. Hammer tightly chokes him with relentless, terrifying force. Meanwhile, terrified hostages witness this horrifying deathmatch until his friend bravely strangles the distracted killer. Someone is ruthlessly submerged into the murky water. Then Hammer plummets directly toward the grotesque vat. The traumatized survivors hastily carry their wounded away. Zhuangzi desperately tries to awaken his injured friend. They finally catch a brief, incredibly tense breather. He carefully tends to her severely bleeding wound. However, the sinister threat is far from over. The battered killer slowly drags himself back up. Covered in gore, his insane fury only intensifies. He glares forward with absolute, murderous psychotic rage. Then he crawls towards the deadly control panel. With his last strength, he reaches the switch. He viciously activates the horrific trap once again. He glares at them, declaring a grim fate, sealing a deadly trap for everyone still inside.